Yo, what is going on, guys? Houday all day, back with another video. So today we're doing part 2 to this mock draft. As you guys can see, I have all these picks already set on my most previous YouTube video. If you guys want to go check out the video, that is the part 1, this is the part 2. You guys can see all the picks right here. So starting off with the 16th overall pick for the Arizona Cardinals, they do need a cornerback, so I do have them grabbing J.C. Horn. Patrick Peterson is kind of on his last legs. He's not horrible, but he's definitely getting to that age where he's going to kind of stop being productive here pretty soon. They have a decent nickel corner. I shouldn't say decent. He's a good corner. They have a good slot corner in Byron Murphy. They have a good safety in Budda Baker. So I think you just need to add another cornerback. So I have them grabbing J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Next pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them grabbing, I hope I say this name right, Jeremiah Owusu-Mokanora. Or I'm sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong, but he's out of Notre Dame. Very good linebacker. He can really move all over the place. He's only like 220. I think he's only like 222 or something like that. He's only 216. So, and he's a linebacker, so he can really move all over the place. He played some safety. He played some strong safety at Notre Dame. He can play coverage. He can come off the edge. He can really move all around, and that's what the Raiders are really missing. They've gone defense kind of frequently in their last couple drafts with. They went Furl early. They went Jonathan Abram. Then they went Damian Arnett. But they still struggle on that defensive side. They have dealt with some injuries, but I do have them grabbing Jeremiah from Notre Dame. Next for the Miami Dolphins. Now, I had them grabbing Penei Sewell in their last draft to help protect Tua. And they do need a receiver, but I have them, for this mock draft, have them addressing receiver in free agency. There's a bunch of free agents. There's Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel. I'm probably missing more people. There's a bunch of wide receiver free agents. I'm going to have them grabbing Najee Harris here. He's really come on these last half of the season. He was super highly rated coming out of high school. I'm pretty sure he was a 5-star. And then, there's just so many talented running backs in Alabama. He was kind of just back there and behind people. And then last year, I think he was a starter last year, but there was other people kind of splitting with him. And then this year, he completely took over as the workhorse back, and he's a stud. And that is one element of the offense that they are missing, is just like playmakers. And I mentioned with receiver and also at running back, they're just missing playmakers all around the board. So I have them grabbing Najee Harris. Next for the Washington football team, I have them grabbing Mac Jones. If I'm Washington, I'm hoping Alex Smith comes back next year, because I do think it would benefit Mac Jones if he were to sit a year. I mean, that really benefits any quarterback, because who wouldn't want to sit back, or how would it not benefit you if you were to sit back and learn? But some quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and those guys, they just have to be your opening day starters. They can't not be your opening day starters. So I really hope that Smith comes back next year, because he's proven he can win games. I mean, he doesn't put up the best numbers, but they can win games with him back there. So have Mac Jones learn, and then Mac Jones takes over that offense. Next, the Bears do really need a quarterback, but you can't take Trask this early. And they've already kind of mentioned that they were going to move on from, not Sam Darnold, from Mitch Trubisky. But like I said, there's no quarterback you can really draft this early. And so I do have them grabbing Cosmi out of Texas. He's one of the best tackles in the draft, and that's another problem. Even though their quarterback play is spotty, their O-line play is very spotty. Whoever quarterback is back there, if it's Foles or if it's Mitch, they don't have a lot of time to run. And later in the season, they got the run game going, but other than that, they couldn't get the run game going. And when you can't get the run game going and you don't have any time to throw the ball, that's not a good combination at all. So I have them going Cosmi. Another quarterback spot here, but again, no quarterbacks you can really take this early. So I do have them drafting a receiver. I have them drafting Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. They kind of need another receiver. They did just get Pittman in this past draft in the second round. But if T.Y. is most likely going to be gone next year, and T.Y. didn't really do anything till the end of the season, but he was still another guy in there. So you have Zach Pascal, who's not very good. and you have Paris Campbell from Ohio State, who was injured this year, but he'll be coming back. But I still think having another receiver, I don't know who your quarterback's going to be next year. They did get Jacob Easton in last year's draft, so I don't know what the situation is with him. I don't really follow the Colts too much, but they did draft Easton, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he is their starter next year, and he tightens up and has a good offseason and whatever they want to do with that situation. Next for the Tennessee Titans. Their D-line's a huge problem, as you can see even in their team needs here, edge and interior. They tried to bring in Vic Beasley. They tried to bring in Jadeveon Clowney, and it didn't work. They just couldn't get an outside presence, and that was the problem. They do have Joseph Osai out of Texas above Gregory Rousseau. In my personal rankings, I do not have that. I have Gregory Rousseau as my edge rusher 2 behind Kwity Paye. So I do have them grabbing Gregory Rousseau here. It might be a little bit for him to kind of come on because he really only had one productive year in college, but he's an athletic freak. Like he'll get there. It might take him a little bit to adapt to the NFL level, but I believe that he will get there. Now with the Jets, we're going all in on Sam Darnold. That's what we're doing. If I'm gonna, which I did, if you can see, I went with Devontae Smith here. In this mock draft, Sam Darnold's our guy in this mock draft. We're gonna give him all the help that he needs. Running back. We're gonna go with Travis Etienne here. And I know this is kind of crazy that he is this high of a draft pick. Because running backs really aren't that valuable, but I think Etienne's a great talent. And like I said, if we're going to go Trevor, I could see them going O-line with this pick, but they did get Becton last year. I think Becton's really, really going to come on as one of like the best left tackles in the entire NFL with a full off season and all this. Becton's an absolute stud, and we're going to give Darnold weapons in this mock draft. We're not going to sit here and draft him a quarterback and then draft him some freaking cornerback. If we're going to stick with Sam Darnold in this mock draft, we're going to give him weapons. So we're going to give him a stud running back in Travis Etienne, and we're going to give him a stud receiver in Devontae Smith. Next, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, O-line is one of their big issues. I am going to go with Alex Leatherwood over Jalen Mayfield in this pick because Mayfield can too, but Leatherwood can be moved. He can play a tackle position. They can even move him inside to right or left guard. And Villanueva is getting older, so I don't even know if he'll be there next year as their left tackle. So you could put him at that left tackle position, and they can kind of use interior offensive linemen too. So if you want to move Leatherwood inside, you can also do that. So that's kind of what the Steelers need. Next, for Jacksonville. Now, we did just get Trevor Lawrence, and I like Alex Leatherwood to the Jags also to protect Lawrence. Cam Robinson, I don't know what the situation with that is. He's their left tackle. I think he's gone next year, but because he's a free agent like right now. But free agency starts in like April or March. So he is a free agent right now, but we're going to ignore that. And this pick's so tough. I want to draft them a corner. They did just get CJ Henderson, but they really don't have anyone, and that's the problem. They could use, I don't even know. They got linebacker last year when they got Sherbert or whatever his name is from the Browns. So I guess linebacker problem's fixed. I don't know. This pick's difficult for me. This pick is difficult for me. We're just going to go corner to help out that defensive side. They have a bunch of picks, by the way. So they're going to hire Urban Meyer, and they have 4 picks inside. We're going to go with Eric Stokes here. You have 2 young corners who will hopefully develop as 2 great corners on both sides of the field. And, of course, you're going to have Trevor Lawrence. And like I said, they have 2 picks also in the second round. So you can address more offensive weapons with both of your picks in the second round where you can still get very, very good players. Next, for the Cleveland Browns, this is where I do have them grabbing a linebacker. They need a middle linebacker. They could use a really, really talented stud middle linebacker right now, like edge. And you have Myles Garrett, and I understand your other side isn't very good, but Myles Garrett is getting you 12 sacks a season. You don't need another edge. Like, stop. Like, you don't need another edge. I could see them also going corner because our corners are, other than who's the kid out of Ohio State? I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Denzel Ward. He's a stud. And interior defensive line, if you do want to help out that defensive line. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Christian Baltimore, whatever his name is. He absolutely had a phenomenal game against my Buckeyes. He had like 6 tackles, 2 of them for a loss, and even though like that isn't like the prettiest stat, like, oh, he had 6 tackles. Like, he was just always there. He was always forcing the running back to change his lane, always forcing people inside, outside. Like, he was just making up a difference every single play. And we have good guards at Ohio State with Wyatt Davis and Josh Myers, so he was doing that against them. That's impressive. Next for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is another pick where I do have them grabbing an edge because he can play the 3-4, which Jason Pierre-Paul plays right now. But Jason Pierre-Paul is most likely gone. He's like 32 right now, so he's going to be gone soon. And Osai can play that 3-4 outside linebacker and come off the edge, so I think that'll help them out a lot. Next for the Baltimore Ravens. An edge. Oh, because Judon's is getting older. I forgot. We're gonna go with Azeez Ojulari here out of Georgia because, like I just mentioned about that, I could see them going a receiver here too. Because even though Lamar is, no matter what really receiving core they have, that's not going to be their offense. Is not going to be like that type of throwing offense. But saying that, the receiving core is bad. It's not very good. But I have them going Azeez Ojulari here out of Georgia. Next for the Saints. Now, this is, I could see a quarterback spot, but Kyle Trask really didn't do very good. Yeah, especially if Breeze is going to be gone. Trask is a guy who's going to have to develop. So I think they're probably going to stick with Taysom Hill here. So I'm going to go Nick Bolton, who I have actually above Xavier Collins, out of Missouri, because if you don't know their cap situation, they have like they have to clear up $90 million, which is bad. They have to restructure contracts. They need to like cut people. Like Quan Alexander is probably going to be in that mix. So they do need a linebacker, and Nick Bolton is a hard-hitting, true middle linebacker, and I think he'll help them out a lot. Next here for the Buffalo Bills, I think grabbing Asante Samuel Jr. They have Josh Norman right now playing one of their cornerback spots, and he's old and washed. You have Tre'Davious White, you have Porter, Hyde, Micah Hyde, he's with the other safety. So they have a decent secondary, but like I said, Norman is the weak part of that secondary, so draft Asante Samuel Jr., help him out. And this is another team, Shaun Wade is really, he's literally dropped his draft. Like, if he opted out this year, if he would have stayed opted out, he would have been like a top 15 pick. Like, he's really hurt himself there. I'm going to have them drafting a receiver. I'm going to have them drafting Terrence Marshall Jr., Didn't go very receiver heavy in this draft like I do in my other drafts because I kind of went tackle heavy in this draft. But we always talk about getting Aaron Rodgers weapons, and he can drop, he had 48 touchdowns this year with literally one comparable receiver. I mean, he is like honestly the best receiver in the league, but he has one comparable receiver and he's throwing 40 touchdowns. Like, he's crazy, but give him another weapon, help him out. Interior defensive line will, in my opinion, be the pick, and Elijah Vera Tucker for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's kind of one of their problems. Their tackles are amazing. They have Schwartz and they have Fisher, so the tackles are fine. They kind of just need a guard. I can see Wyatt Davis going here. I don't know what's actually going on with Wyatt Davis's injury. He got hurt in the national championship game, and it was a knee injury, so I don't know the severity of it. But Elijah Vera Tucker has flexibility at the offensive line, and that would be a nice pick to protect Mahomes and block for Hilaire. So, talk to me about my picks in the comments if you like someone too high, like someone too low, if you think someone should have been drafted in the first and they did not go in the first. Please remember to like and subscribe. That is very important and it helps me out a lot. It is completely free to like and subscribe, so please remember to do that, and I'll be back next time. Go Bengals, go Buckeyes. Peace.